Here are some of the stories seen and heard more than other main headline makers in Korea, according to internet websites and news portals. So the first one, someone uploaded this wanted sign on a very popular app for selling, buying, or requesting or providing services. It says 10 rows of kimbap, which is like make 10 rows of kimbap for 15,000 won. Anybody? And that's just ridiculous because let's look at the article. So 10 rows of kimbap for yeah, this, can you see what's inside? That's not gonna cut it. So let's look at some of the comments. Do you have no, is this person sane? Do you know how long it takes to make 10 kimbap? It's out of his mind. I'll give you 1,001 more, which is $1 more. Why don't you do it? Even with the rice and just the seaweed, two of the main ingredients, that's not even gonna be enough to make 10, much less pay for the labor cost. It's a pretty labor intensive procedure. This person who claims to be quite the cook or the chef says kimbap is not easy to make. It requires a lot of care and attention and time, and each of the ingredients, most of them involve separately cooking, grilling, or lightly boiling, especially when it comes to spinach. You have to cook the rice, you have to make the perfect layers of curtains of eggs, and then while you're wrapping, if you're not skilled enough, it's going to burst on the side. It's not going to be easy. It takes a lot of skills and time. That is why if you look at some of the restaurants in Korea, when it comes to Korean food, the ladies who know how to roll or make kimbap are some of the most expensive ones to find. So get your facts in order. Just looking at the title gives me goosebumps. Ingredients itself would cost as much as the money you're offering, which is about $15. That's, you get that on these Korean apps for exchanging services. There was one previously asking about, help me move this heavy desk for like 8 kilometers, bring your own car and I'll pay you $8. So some people are either very detached from reality, or they just want attention, or they really do honestly believe that that is the right amount. A soldier was caught with his penis out of his pants. So that really made headlines. And not too long after what happened, we have an ordinary man, not in military garb, an ordinary man, yes, exposing himself just like that soldier. It's a different person, but even this seems to be a bit of a fad. So the comments were, why don't you show your face and your package online, and we'll judge you. We'll rate you. Isn't that what you want? Do that. Is it okay if a woman does this? And some idiot, I don't know if some idiot probably saying, women, what are you waiting for? You need to strike back. Don't be a victim. Follow my lead. I'll expose my D-Cub bust. Next story is something that you see quite often in Korea. You will see this in the headlines a lot. Not in terms of headlines in news outlets or news stories or contents that's sent or read overseas, but this is a serious issue. Interfloor rage issues. So this one case, two neighbors were fighting about some noise issues, and it ended up in a stabbing incident. A 40-year-old woman was arrested by the police. This happens quite a lot. I think it's if not counting all the stories that are not properly reported, probably it happens quite often. And the comments itself shows what people are going through. Yes. We have so many issues where people fight over interfloor noise, having to move, getting into vengeful assault. So many cases. Is there no one putting up countermeasures to prevent it from happening? And is the apartment where you can literally hear anyone taking steps or walking and it feels like it's pounding on your head, is that normal? Is there some issues with the apartment regulations in terms of the construction regulations? It is driving me insane, and I understand if someone feels the need to go out all berserker and stab someone. And here another comment says, I completely understand the person who tried to take drastic action. My personal experience, why are people running around and making so much noise late at night? It's your floor, but my ceiling too. Again, another person comments about the issue of building issues in Korea. So we can't just rip off all the buildings and rebuild all of them. So it is up to individuals to do something. And if that can't be done, there needs to be a law to severely punish these individuals who cannot understand that it's causing pain downstairs. We need to have measurement devices to make sure some measures are made, whether it's construction or renovation, and make people pay fine for such inadequacies if the buildings are not properly constructed, and some detection methods using measurement devices shows that it is faulty. I know someone would usually go down, someone would go up and complain. And usually, more likely than not, the someone who is on the receiving end of the complaint who caused noise usually respond in a very defensive and aggressive manner. That may have led to this very excessive response. Nowadays, fighting over interfloor noise seems to be the norm these days. I feel the same impulse every day because of my home and my situation. A robot chef cooking 10,000 servings of fried rice at the cafeteria. Huh. Yeah, AI taking jobs, that is something that people always talk about. People live in fear, but look at the machine. It kind of has limitations. But certainly this must be helpful. If you look at the comments, get something that can peel eggs. That's actually labor intensive. I see the machine. It still needs a lot of menial labor around it. Well, the government can step in and try and come up with more robots that can do these jobs, because there are so many strikes in the government jobs, especially in school cafeterias or government-related jobs. Do these people know that it may be convenient now that they don't have to do these certain labor-intensive jobs like dipping the fried chicken and not having to stand in nearby hot oil? But that means they are losing their place slowly and gradually. Oh, if a cafeteria has these robots, every day there's going to be some fried meal. So conscription or volunteer army, presidential hopefuls revive military reform debate. The reality in Korea is North Korea is a threat. South Korea needs every able-bodied man to be able to put their heads there, to be trained, to be prepared for possible warfare, or at least send a signal to North Korea that we have enough manpower. Every male in Korea is trained to fight. But now there are so many issues with the mandatory military service, with so many privileged individuals trying to find ways to find loopholes to get exempted from it. And therein lies the imbalance. And the military responds by coming up with even stricter measures to prevent people who are trying to slip through the sieves or find loopholes. But that also leads to some individuals who should not be in the military, who are not fit for service, being forced to serve because of the others that try to take advantage of the system. So conscription Already the volunteer army, already the duration, the serving period has been drastically reduced. It used to be about nearly 3 years in the 70s and 80s. In the 2000, it went down to about less than 2 years. Now it's less than 2 years, 1 year and about 8 months. I don't think that's something that people should be complaining about, because given the situation in Korea, of course, in an ideal place, people would not have to serve. The pay also has drastically gone up by a few hundreds of percentage points. So already a lot of tax money is being spent and a lot of leeways have been made. We cannot afford a volunteer army. This is a populism move on presidential hopefuls. If they deliver, they are willing to serve South Korea on a platter to North Korea. If they don't, they'll be labeled liars for saying they were going to deliver on this. 4-day week, work week. That is one major leading presidential candidate is promising. He promised this in his previous run for president, but yeah, that's not going to fly with the people. Again, a very populist policy. People are saying, comments say, I know the previous conservative president and the conservative party has issues, but you can't just give votes to select a blatant communist. This is going to be worse than the previous liberal administration. We've seen what that previous liberal administration can do to the country. Well, wait till we just surrender our country to China or Japan, China or North Korea. Then you'll come to your senses. Populism, oh my God, so much. Where's the money coming from? Do you even know? People think just because it's not going to cost them anything, they should know that this will ultimately come bite them. And please let people who want to work and not prevent them from working. Don't try to turn this into North Korea. Looking at all these populism-driven policies, pledges, looks like this guy's going to be worse than the previous one, going to ruin the country even more. How do we have people being forced to work only 4 days a week when we need to compete with China and US AI sectors? We're already behind. Look at Europe. Their 4-day work week led to their demise. Again, something similar. They're talking about other countries that try to have this 4-day work week that costs a lot of sectors, especially manufacturing. Korea's main power is human resources, and you want them to be less productive. They're going to make less money. Those who are in the privileged labor union or those who are born with a silver spoon, they wouldn't mind. But those who are working class income, those with the dependent income for the livelihoods, they're going to go to a point where they'll only be able to afford to just watch YouTube at home on their free days because of how less money they make. And when populist policies promise what? Here's $250. People are going to just say, yay. Minimum income wage raise. Yay. But hey, think about that. The reality is it all boils down to government debt, national debt. We can't afford it. Think about what it's going to do to the economy. Yeah, 4-day work week, that's great. But that also means 20% less income for you. What about corporations? You think they're going to just give you money if you take 4 days work and 3 days off? That's not going to happen. That means on weekdays, you're going to find a part-time job to supplement your money.